Water, the driving force of all life. And here, it slowly seeps back into the earth.
Dust. Well, I really love the theme of this, even though it's kind of sad in a way. It's like bittersweet. I love that the title goes with the theme and it all comes together. Really beautiful opening. It starts off with a bang with the cinematography, the horses, the heat, emanating, and the zebras. Just great cinematography all the way around. Great production value on this. Great camera work. The animals were amazing. All the shots of the animals, to me, this is just an amazing documentary as far as the filmmaking aspect goes. When the zebras were all lined up in the angle of the camera, it just looked really cool. Like they were purposely lined up to where you could see each one of them, but one was sticking out a little farther than the others. So I just really liked that a lot as well. Just thought it was a cool shot. I like the narrator's voice. For me, it was just a little slow moving and it could have been sped up a little bit. I understand the tone, but I think it could have been a little shorter just to keep my interest. I like the narrator. I like the narration. I like what was being said. I just feel like it could have been a little shorter. It was a nice explanatory script, very educational. And again, just beautiful shots. I love the shots of the elephants in the water. The hippo with the eyes just above the water. That shot was really cool. So many beautiful shots and great lighting. And it just reminds us of the fragility of life. So great job.
All right, I just finished watching Dust, which I thought was a very well done nature documentary. I like the conceit of sort of obviously water being the center of all life and the center of the ecosystem. I like the juxtaposition of dust in contrast to that, and sort of highlighting animals and wildlife that have to exist in a space in which water is scarce, or where there used to be water, there isn't water anymore. And I thought there was a lot of interesting historical ideas about nature's balance and the cycles of nature that I thought this piece really highlighted quite well with its central sort of thematic intent. I think for any nature documentary, it just needs to be like cool to watch, to see the animals and to enjoy the landscape, and I thought that was really well captured here, and it just had the classic sort of editing and pacing that you would expect from a nature documentary, and the type of narrating that you expect it to sort of handhold you through the piece. So I thought it was well done. I thought it had an educational feel that also worked as an entertainment factor, and there was a lot of drama. Watching the lions and the zebras, or watching the hyenas and their philosophy on how to hunt, just all the way throughout, you can really sort of interesting scale of how the wildlife exists within this one ecosystem, having to deal with this dynamic. So I thought it was a very thoughtful piece and a well done piece in that sense, and a generally stylish piece in terms of what you were able to visually experience. So I thought it was well done, and I ended up enjoying it.
Dust. This had some amazing cinematography. I mean, just what they did with their shots and how they used depth of field. It was visually breathtaking. I loved it. I also thought that the subject matter was so incredibly important. These freshwater pools and how vital they are, not just for the animal life, but the organisms, everything. It affects everything around. I loved what they did and who they chose for their voiceover. It was paced really great. There was emotion behind the words. I thought that was awesome. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot of things that I actually didn't know about the area. I think the filmmakers were smart. They put in this really cool special effect in their aerial shot, going over the landscape, where they let you know where you were via special effect. And I thought that was really, really clever. The music just added such an impact to the importance of these freshwater pools that are there and kind of what happens when they dry up. So I loved this. I thought that it was put together so strikingly well, and it was really, really educational.
I really like the theme behind Dust, which is that at the end of the day, everything and all of us is dust, which can sound negative, depending on how you look at it, but it really is just about the nature in itself and the circle of life. And I think that this documentary does a really great job of um, showing its subjects in a really full circle kind of way. It creates a narrative and a storyline for them, which is focused around water and the search for water and how hugely impactful it is on all of the animals' lives. And there's just kind of this trickle down effect of, if this happens or this doesn't happen, then this doesn't happen, then this doesn't happen, then these ones don't eat. And, it really is showing that like everything is connected, especially out in nature. So I think that it was a really beautiful reminder of just how everything has a purpose and everything has a role within nature. And it really was giving like National Geographic. I thought the shots were absolutely beautiful. It always blows my mind when these cameras, which I know have very long, expensive lenses, but can capture these animals in the wild with such clarity and precision. And it's like we're there with them. And I know that this takes years potentially, right, to be able to capture all of this footage. So this was fantastic. Great job. A great watch.
Dust. What an amazing journey the animal species of Botswana take to get to water, to get to food, and then back to water again. It takes them months on their journey. The close-ups of the animals and the distant shots, there must have been some very, very high-tech camera equipment used for this. The detail, we really got a terrific look at all these animal species, and I've never really heard the sound of the zebra that much in any film or even in any game farm for that matter. Really interesting. And I wonder what the country of Botswana is doing for preserving the water that they do get from the river. It doesn't really say. It also leaves you with the thought that, is this somewhat climate change and the natural ways that things will go in nature? The large population of elephants in this area, that was surprising. I would have thought they'd say it was diminishing. So that was good news. Really enjoyable.
Beautiful. Absolutely stunning imagery here. It's very cinematic. It's informative, like a good nature doc should be. And it definitely had that genuine nature documentary feel, from just the gravity of the footage to the style of narration. It's just all just very, very well done, and just using that genre really well. The slow-mo shots were really great. They just let you kind of just sit back and just absorb the majesty of it all. Really, really smartly done. And there was a great score too, which, is very important in a nature documentary. Just overall, it was just very enjoyable. There was an excellent assortment of animals. Just my kind of nature doc. I really enjoyed it.
Yes, I really enjoyed this because, this gave me all my National Geographic vibes. We have the Kalahari during the dry season, and it's just showing the various storylines of the various animals that live there. And it does a really good job following everyone and then sort of tying it all together so that the animals that we're watching become the characters in this piece. We watched the journey of the lions, cheetahs, the zebras in the wild, in their migration patterns. And you can see, a mother and the cubs maneuvering, and it's an up close look at nature. It's an up close look at the circle of life, because everything emerges back to dust here. For example, we see a lion eating his prey, discarding the rest, and scavengers, vultures fighting over the carcasses. We see how every animal is connected. And in this migration, this cause of the migration is this chase for fresh water, for new grazing opportunities. And many of these animals, like the zebras, for example, are traveling up to 160,000 miles just seeking water. And it's a life or death journey for a lot of them. because there's predators, there's the lack of water, there's the lack of food, there's long distances, there's so many things that could go wrong. And once this rainy season commences, we see the circle of life once again, because the predators come seeking the prey that have found their grazing. And it's always amazing to me how they're even able to capture all of these moments without alerting the animals to their presence. It feels like we're right up on them. It feels like we're right in their world. The constant theme in this documentary is everything subsiding to dust, whether it be the water when the dry seasons come, whether it be the animals themselves once they become prey and then therefore are eaten and then their bones become the dust, or just the land itself turning from lush green grazing land to dust. So the theme was just so prevalent within this. The storytelling was just so prevalent within this. It just made it just such an easy watch.